Okay guys, welcome back to another tutorial, and in this one we are going to be modifying our old player script, or your current player script, and we are going to alter it with all these new move, changed, all those different tags, and ultimately update and improve the whole script. Once we convert everything, then I will begin to explain things more in depth. As we go along, I may explain things a little bit. It might seem confusing at first, but by the time we get to the end and I re-explain everything, it should hopefully make sense by then. Okay, so there we go. Alright, so the first thing we need to add is the landing variable. So this is going to check if the player is landing. Run speed we already have defined in the player script, but we're making it global now. So we're going to remove it from here. And this needs to be plus run speed, which is why we made run speed global, so that we can now use it within this function. And now we're going to remove all that, and if landing equals 0, so if the player isn't landing, then camera.z equals player I position.z. And we'll find out why I did that in a second. Now the next thing that needs to be changed isn't until sorry, we get down here, and this needs to be changed to an X and a Y. They are two different values now, but they remain at 5. And so jumping, so these two are actually removed. We don't need these ones no more. And underneath here we can add two new variables, and they are going to be var player off ground equals 0, run increment equals 0. Actually, we can leave that like that. So those are our new variables. And down here, ent create, sorry, not ent creates, ent animate me. So we're animating the player into his run. My.skill4 I think it's worth mentioning right now that I updated the resource folder, or resource package, so you should re-download that. Okay, so run. Okay, so this I changed entirely. It's now, okay, well we can at least leave that, I suppose. So now we have a run increment equals clamp run increment. Clamp it to 0 and 5, so it can't go past those numbers. And we can now, like I say, leave that there. And if we're pushing the shift key, and key W equals 1, run speed equals run increment, and run increment plus equals 2.5 times time step the else, which is now Control-Alt-A to fix your script if it goes out of line. I might say that throughout my tutorials once in a while, but just in case anyone else is just checking in on a random tutorial, if they happen to hear that and it's helpful, that's perfect. Minus equals 5 times time step else, so this else instance, this else is inside this else. Run speed equals 0 and run increment equals 0. Okay, we got the fun speed happening here. Okay, so we got all that put in there. Now this is new above here, player speed increment x equals clamp player speed increment x. So we're clamping the player's increment speed, or the increment amount to the player's speed, and player speed increment x plus equals 1 times time step. That's why we clamped it, so it won't go past 10. And this needs to be increment x now. And then we'll come down to the second part, and up here we add player speed increment y equals clamp player speed increment y, max it at 10. Basically the same thing we did with the forward and backwards movement. Player speed increment x plus equals 1 times time step should be a y, so should this, sorry. And then we come down to here. Let me just check the time. Okay, so this will be a 2-part tutorial, so look for the second part. Okay, so player speed increment y plus equals 1 times time step. And this is y. So right if key okay, so get rid of that. Player speed increment y equals 5. Player speed y equals 0. And if my dot, oops, oh, I see.